For doctor, it's a perfect time to do this. If you see my hand, I'm shaking real bad. Now they're going away, and I'll explain in a second why I just seized in my bed and why I can't stand up on my feet right now. Making it go away, I just. Okay. So, last night, we left the windows open. So the mold isn't that bad right now. It is very fresh in here. I can breathe. Something that is very hard to do normally because at nighttime we have to close most of the windows and we can only crack them. It gets too cold. I live in Rochester, New Hampshire. We only get 1 to 2 months a year where at nighttime it is above 50 degrees. For 10 months a year, at nighttime, it gets below 50 degrees. And if I don't have the heaters up to date or if they can't keep up, then it gets below 50 in my house. Last night, it got about in the 40s outside, about 48, something like that, with the wind chill probably 42. And I was under heavy, heavy covers. Now that I feel my nervous system back because I'm under those covers and I got a heater blasted on me, I'm doing better. But I went to the bathroom. There was no heat on. I got out of my covers. I am dressed. I'm wearing sweatpants. I'm wearing a double layer of clothing. I'm going to try to show you what I'm wearing. I'm still a little shaky, but I'm pretty good. Just the phone isn't reacting well. But I'm pretty good. I got this blanket right here that I just wrapped up in. And I have that heater right there that I just turned on and blew on me directly. I didn't vomit much this morning. I think that's the mold that's causing the vomiting because I didn't seem that nauseous this morning. So that tells me there's something, it's that thick air. When the air is thick and I feel like I'm drowning underwater because the mold's build up too much. Mold spores are everywhere in this apartment, by the way, and the landlord knows about it. It's visible from the outside of the building. We got waterfalls coming in, obviously. I've reported these to him for 7 years. It's just fucked up. So, the air quality is better this morning, but the temperature was terrible. And I stood up, went to go to the bathroom with my cane, by the way, which I will show you now, too. That's a cane. I'm running out of CBD as well. So I'm using a CBD vape instead of my gummies or my supplements. I also have a CBDV back rub. So I have a CBN vape. And I don't like vaping those, but it only cost me like $19 versus the $60 for the CBD and tablets or gummies. So 19 versus 70. It's so 20 versus 70 because it's like $59.99, $69.99 for a bottle of supplements that would last you maybe 14 days because you're taking 2 at bedtime and they give you 30. So if you're lucky, they're very weak because they have to go through your stomach. So most of it you don't get into your body when you're eating them orally. So not only are they more... Oh, those shakes stay with me for a second. I'll have a couple more spasms in my back and arms. But they're much better now. I couldn't when they hit like they did before. When I was trying to get the phone on, my whole body was spasming out of control, and that's because the cold seeped in. I didn't have the heater on me. I didn't have a blanket on me. It got in my arms, and it got in my chest. Then it got in my back. Then it got in my neck. And then by the time I got back to the bed, I couldn't even walk right. I was spasming while I was walking. When I got to the bed and sat down, my whole body straightened out into a spasm. This has been happening for 25 fucking years. Yes, when I was, let me see, 9 years old in Texas. I was only 9 fucking years old in Texas. I was outside bringing a fucking jacket with me in Texas on a 79-degree day. I'm wearing a suede heavy jacket. Why is a white boy in Texas on a almost above 80-degree day where everybody else is in t-shirts hot? Why am I in a suede jacket? Because it was windy. And the wind wasn't bothering anybody else because the wind chill barely made it feel like 65 to them. They were enjoying it. But for me, the wind was causing my arms to spasm and my back to shock me. So I put on a suede jacket, not knowing exactly what's going on because I'm only 9 years old. At the age of 7 years old, when this first started, I woke up with a shocking like feeling going through my neck and spine. This was the first time I ever felt it. Well, what happened that night before I felt this happen to me? What happened? Well, we went to go get a movie, Batman Mr. Freeze. We were going to watch it. My mother took me to a hallway and gave me a handful of pills and told me I had to take them. At this point, we went to sit down and watch the movie. The movie started about an hour after the pills. These pills started to kick in the beginning of the movie. My vision went out. I couldn't see my own hands in front of my hands. Now, it wasn't black vision. Everything was just a complete blur. It was spinning and vibrating. Everything was a blur. My hand, you couldn't make out the carpet, nothing. So then I tried to scream for help from my mother. But only this comes out. Help, help, I can't hear, help. It's all that comes out. I start panicking because I'm dying. I'm literally dying from an overdose. At this point, my mother realizes something is wrong, and she goes, "Oh, is something wrong?" And I go, "Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah." I'm trying to talk, even though I can't make any sense. All my words are slurred. My mouth is numb. My tongue feels numb. I feel like I'm going to vomit. I'm having the PTSD flashback now. I'm back there during childhood. I have flashbacks of this night. Anyways, my mother walks to make a phone call to emergency people. I crawl over to my father and my breathing starts to slow down. Now I crawl because I am able to stand up at the age of 7. I am able to walk, but not at this time because I'm OD'd. My whole nervous system is shot. I'm shaking. I can't feel my skin. I can't feel my mouth. I can't see out of my eyeballs. I can't stand. I can't seem to move my arms or legs properly. It's hard to crawl. I get to the newspapers. I'm trying to ask for help, but only only little airs are coming out now, and then I pass out. But as I'm passing out, my mother goes, "They don't know what they're talking about. I'm not bringing them to the emergency room," and hangs up on the emergency people and leaves me to die on the pile of newspapers. When I wake up, I feel this shock in my neck and back for the rest of my life. So ever since that day, I've had this. Now, my mother made it worse by adding drugs and beating me with rulers and trafficking me across the country. And when doctors were trying to listen to me and trying to help me, trying to like put me in ballet and switching doctors around, running me to different states. So like if the teachers and the doctors in Westford are starting to figure out something is wrong with my coordination, I'm starting to speak up at the doctor's office about this overdose. What does my mother do about this? Your son has a coordination issue. He's speaking up about an overdose. Teachers are concerned. They're putting him in physical therapy. They're putting him in speech therapy. What does my mother think she should do about this? She decides to put me in ballet and cause a bunch of more issues. That way, when I go to therapy, I'm talking about the kids making fun of me for ballet. So she puts me in ballet. But then she thinks about it some more. And my father says that he got a job offer, but he doesn't want to take it. It's all the way in Texas. My father does not want to go to Texas. They built a life here. All her friends are here. So don't worry, wifey. We're going to stay. I know how much you love your friends. But then my mother goes, "No, I want to go. I want to go to Texas. I want to change the scenery." Well, don't you have any other reasons to leave your friend and your job and your whole life? No, I just want to change the scenery. Let's go. So then she takes me while doctors are looking into this issue and moves me to Texas. But then the doctors won't listen to her in Texas. Instead, they're kind of listening to me a little bit, but my mother's moving me around to so many different doctors that it's very hard for them to get a gauge on me, but there's no medicines. And my mother kind of gives up and stops trying to bring me to doctors because I keep on speaking up about the overdose because there's something really wrong with me I want to get to the bottom with, and I really don't know what to call it. I just know what happened. I just know my mother gave me pills and she keeps on lying and something's wrong and she doesn't want anybody to help me with it. That's all I know. So anyways, then my mother comes up with a plan to bring me to New Mexico. Just put me in some cabin with little oversight that isn't ready. Of course, a lot of abuse happens there. There's no medication, no medical care, no doctors, no nurses, none of that shit up there. There is no medical professionals up in this mountain. Nobody. They're underpaid young interns, and this place isn't even ready to be opened yet. It's not even built yet. They're just trying to get funding to build the facility. So I'm in a cabin, wandering around a field while my father pays these people so that they can collect the money. So in a couple years, they can actually build the facility. But right now, there is no facility. There's just a cabin, an office for the staff, and some gathering room for the parents for holidays. Us, the kids, are only allowed to be in the TV room or the eating room. We're not even allowed to be in our bedrooms. It's some therapy they're doing where they make you not be in your bedroom. You have to stay on the floor every night. And then at 5 a.m., they bring you in your bedroom. And then they let you sleep for 1 hour, sometimes 2. And then they wake you up and have you brush your teeth and get ready. And this is every day. Every day you fall asleep on a hard floor. At 5 a.m., you can go to your bed. And then at 6 a.m., you have to get up. That was the way for 18 months I slept. It was terrible. Terrible, terrible. Not just that. What did we do during the day? Well, the teacher quit after 3 months, so there was no classroom. So we did extracurricular activity like rock hammering and stuff like that. Also, we got to play with dangerous animals all we wanted outside. The staff would stay at the window in the cabin, but there was this big mountain field that we could wander around in. Most of the people like to go in the tree line and look for wild watermelons, rattlesnakes, tarantulas, black widows. I mean, there was a black widow living under our sink the whole time we were there. None of the staff members wanted to get rid of it. I don't know why, but yeah. Black widows everywhere up in these mountains in New Mexico. And we know so because they were black with a red hourglass. It was easy. Plus, I was the kid with the bug book. I was always trying to identify the bugs with the book from the library because that was the one thing I loved doing was go to the library. Still to this day, I love my local library, and please support your local library. Please do. They're a great resource for college students, people, just in general. Not everybody has $300 to rent out, to buy a book they're only going to use one time. But a library will help you with that. It's a service that helped people succeed for years after years, and they're going broke. Why? Because the rich have no need for them, and the poor have been abandoned. The libraries have become a place for the sheltered. That's not right. It should be a place where people learn, and it should be a place with plenty of structure, and our society should value a library. But instead, we're not. We're not valuing it because it's the disabled who use it. It's the poor who use it. So they're going broke like everything else. Because our funding and our government, we used to fund things for everybody, but now we only fund for the rich. If it's not going to be used by the rich, if the rich aren't going to gain from it, they don't want to pay or hear about it. Like, did you know there was this great program that was invented called the Trickle Up program, where they were supposed to bring money to the bottom, and then people at the bottom would spend that money at Walmart or on housing, and it would work its way up. Because if you spend money at Walmart, the money has now worked its way to the top. You know, you give it to somebody who's poor and homeless, they get buy clothing at Walmart, then that money is now in Walmart's hand, then it goes to Sam Walton, he puts it in a bank, now the bank has it, so that money